Hello and welcome to another Rich Graphics training video on WordPress. Today we're going to be going over creating and editing posts and pages on your WordPress site. We're going to talk about the differences between the two and how to add and edit text, links, and photos. We'll go over some formatting, some styling, and even show you the kitchen sink. By the time we're through, you should be comfortable adding to and editing your WordPress site. If you are a Rich Graphics client, rest assured we have a recent backup of the site in 3 different formats, so feel free to experiment and get a feel for the user interface and many options that WordPress offers you. No changes are ever set in stone, and we can always revert to a recent backup if anything goes horribly awry. Like always, we start by logging into our site. So in this case, we're going to training.richgraphics.ca/wp-admin. Takes us to the administrative login screen where we enter our assigned username and password. We're then taken to the WordPress dashboard. On the left side, you're going to see your main menu full of options, and today we're going to be focusing on posts and pages. Posts represent all of your blog or news page entries. These articles feed the RSS feed on your site, and they appear newest to oldest on the blog or news page. Pages represent all the other pages that are contained on your site. So anything that's not a blog or a news item, you're going to find under the Pages menu. Editing them is pretty much the same. There's a few more options in Post, including categories and tags, but other than that, the whole look and feel is very similar for editing the 2 different entries. If you do not use a blog or a news page, you're not going to find much under Posts. Most of your site will be contained under Pages. So let's start with Posts. Click on Posts, you'll see a view that shows all of your blog or news page posts. Again, they're, even in this view, arranged newest to oldest. These are indexed by search engines and populate your site's RSS, or really simple syndication feed. We're going to edit this first post by clicking on its name, or we could hover over it and click Edit. When the Edit page appears, it's divided into a number of different sections. Let's look at these sections. So here's where we put the title of our post. Again, this is searched by search engines and looked at highly, so use keywords in this if you can. We'll see the editor window. This is where we do most of the work, and it actually is laid out sort of like your Word program at home. To the right, we see an update button and a place for the time and the date. If you change this and put it into the future, you can actually have articles automatically published at certain times, so you can sort of automate and pre-roll your blog entries. Public visibility, you can hide your entries, and here you can also change it to a draft so that people can't see it. Underneath that, you're going to see categories and tags. Categories are broad topics, and you only tend to use a few for each article. Tags are more specific. I usually go through and see what I'm talking about and then add tags accordingly. You can use many as you want, and again, these things are useful for SEO value. Here you also see discussion. Sometimes you'll put a post up and you want to allow for comments, you're asking for feedback. So this is where you would do that. You'll also see revisions and a few other things if you go up to screen options at the very top right. WordPress hides things that you're not using, so sometimes if you don't see something that you want to see, you can click on it here. WordPress will remember your setting automatically, so the next time you log in, that item will be populated in here. So here you can see the revisions. So if you make a mistake and you want to turn back the clock, you could click through these and actually set this page to an older revision that isn't in error. So let's go back to the editor and we'll get editing. You'll see on this sample post that we have a link set up. It's very easy to add a link to your article. hover over the text you want to link on and use this little chain. Here you can enter the site that you want the link to go to, and also enter a title for it. So visit the Rich Graphics website. This will appear when a user hovers over that link. And under here is Open Link in a new window or tab. If it's a link to something on your site, I recommend that you leave this unchecked. However, if it's a link away from your site, you'll want to check this so that the users never really leave your site when they follow that link. Click on Add Link, and now this is a linked piece of text. If we scroll down, we'll notice that this has a heading style assigned. The way we do this in the WordPress editor is by opening the kitchen sink. So the kitchen sink is this little guy that looks like a palette on the right. Under that, we'll see this is assigned the class of heading 3. These classes are predefined by your theme's CSS file, and your web designer has usually picked something that is appropriate for your theme. So to make this a different class, we can simply select it from the predefined classes that come here, headings 1 through 6. There's also ways to do familiar things, like bold, underline, and italicize. Just click on an item, and much like your Word program, you just click on the items at the top to make it so. Here we see a list. This was created by selecting a number of lines and clicking on the list button. We can also change the color of items by using this little guy here. And here you'll see we're justifying items using these. So it's very easy to add styling to your WordPress posts and pages. If you don't know HTML, you might want to stay away from this, but by clicking on this tab here, you're actually able to see the back-end code that populates your page. If you ever log in and you're accidentally in this mode, the visual mode is only a click away. So let's leave this post and check out our second post. In this post, you'll notice we have a link set up. We also have an image. To edit an image that exists on the site, simply click on the little Edit Image button that appears when you hover over the image. Here you're given a number of options. You can change the size of the image and scale it down. You can also change the justification and bring it to the left instead of the right, or center the image, or just have it sit. Here you can add a title to the image and alternate text, which is again text that comes before the image boots up or if there's a failure in loading the image. And it's also indexed by search engines, so it's great to use keywords in both of these. The caption will appear underneath the image if there's something entered. And by adding a URL here, you can actually link the image out to another site. So when it's clicked on, it will take the user to there. You can update or cancel these changes. Let's delete this image and add another. Choose the point you want the image to appear starting in your post, and then click on the Upload Insert button. Browse your computer for an appropriate image, and click Upload. You're delivered to this screen. Here you want to put a title in for your image. In this case, the alternate text will be the same. It doesn't need a caption or a description. I don't want it linking to the image itself on a blank page, so I'm going to take out the link URL that is generated. I want it to hug the right side of the page, and in this case I want it to be a full-sized image. When you're trying to figure out sizes, your average WordPress page is about 1,000 pixels wide, but a chunk of that is taken up by the sidebar. So a full-sized image is 600 and some pixels wide, and a half one is about 300 pixels or so. So whereas this is only 372, it's a little more than half. I think that's a fine size to put into the post. So I'm going to insert this image into the post, and you'll see it appear there. So this preview window doesn't represent the size of the site, of course, but it is looking a little big. Maybe I'll go in and edit it and crank that size down to something a little more reasonable. Click Update, and there it is. Now let's go check out Pages. Again, here are the pages that make up our site. We're going to edit the home one. Here you can see the editor is very similar to Posts. It doesn't contain categories or tags, but all the other options are the same. Same kitchen sink, same visual and HTML editor. So you can take what you've learned editing your posts and move it right on to editing your pages. There we go. Beautiful. The only difference in posts and pages is when you put up a post and you commit, it does go online. Most modern WordPress themes and builds have a different menu feature. So after you create a new page, say I wanted to create an about page for the site, I publish it, it's not going to immediately appear in the menu. What I actually have to do is go into Appearance, Menus, and add the page to the menu that's being used. So right now the theme supports this menu. Main menu is assigned, and here is what the main menu is made up of on the right. If I scroll down, I can add the new About page to the menu, put it in its proper order, save that menu, and that will commit this new About page into the main menu of the site. So that's just one thing to note. So thanks again for watching. I hope you learned a lot, and be sure to check out all our tutorials on our website at www.richgraphics.ca.